I think there's a number of problems that children and families can face. Often families don't know where to start when they're looking at adapting their houses, when they're looking at new houses. So information can be key. Some of the things that I come across in my work is that houses can be overcrowded. There can be issues around space. A lot of the families might need space from one another. Noise can be an issue. Sometimes even where the house is based can be a key factor.
I think one of the problems people face is this kind of myth of that people need specialist things. So ordinary housing options are sometimes forgotten because people kind of, where's the autism housing in North Tyneside? Well, actually there's loads of ordinary housing which might work perfectly well. So I think some of the housing problems that people face are the same housing problems that everybody faces.
Some real examples when we think about housing are space. So for a child that has to share a room with a sibling, it may mean that the child doesn't sleep at night, or that the other sibling doesn't sleep at night, and this creates all sorts of problems in the household. It might mean that the family live on a busy road, and because of the child's autism and their heightened sensitivity to noise, that the sound of tyres on the road outside or cars on the road outside become like torture for the child, and they behave out of distress.
One of the main problems is adaptations to their house, which can range from things to help them physically around the house, or things to do with their sensory needs or challenging behaviours that they display. The Disabled Facilities Grant can take a really long time to go through the process of applying for a grant, and then if they don't get the grant, they then need to look for other sources of funding, or look to fund the adaptations themselves.
I remember talking to a bloke the other day, a while ago, about some housing thing we were thinking about doing, and he was saying, well, housing's a massive problem, Tim. And I was sitting in my car outside here actually, and I could see like 5 or 6 for sale signs and to let signs. So it's, housing is available. It's just whether you choose the ordinary mainstream housing or you try to get this mythical specialist stuff.
As you can imagine, families often depend on their relatives, their friends. So living close to people where you get natural support can be a real key factor.
Information basically is really key, that they're aware of what the future might hold, but given that information at a pace they can understand, so it doesn't become frightening or something that they're going to worry about for their child when they're 3, but instead think about it in a positive way, really, about what the future is the same for everybody, really, that one day you might leave home and you might need somewhere else.
One of the problems that families sometimes tell us about is issues with neighbours. So that might include a neighbour complaining about noise that the child might make, and that might include late at night, all through the night if a child struggles to sleep. For instance, children with autism often have sleep problems, and they might be up and about in the house, running around making noise. So local authorities need to think about ways of resolving that situation.
And some of the housing issues are fairly straightforward in that, it might be an extra bedroom, it might be that the family moves, and I think so. And then we have other families where the child actually needs professional support, so they may have carers in, and that they would find themselves in a situation where they've got 2 carers in the family house, which also is just not a sustainable way of living. And so to be able to get an extension on the family home so that the child can be cared for both within the family, but also that carers can be outside of the family, can be a good workable solution. What we often do instead is that we end up placing children often miles away from their family homes in very expensive placements, instead of thinking about what are relatively cheap options to help children stay within the family home. And I think that's what I really want you to be thinking about, is how you can think a little bit differently about those things.